Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Vijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Bhajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Bhajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Vijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodananda Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Vijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishmahan, Paramahamsa, Parivartacharya, Sadhu, Sadhu, Srimad, His Divine Grace, Asa Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki, Nanta Koti Vaishnava Ki, ISKCON Founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, Asa Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki, Namah Acharya, Srila Haridas Thakur Ki, Prem Se Kaho, Shri Krishna Caitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadha, Shri Vasati Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Vrindavanam Ki Jai. Mayapurdam Ki Jai. Ragunatha Puridam Ki Jai. Gangamaya Ki Jai. Yamunamaya Ki Jai. Tulsideva Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Priyatmadanga Book Distribution Ki Jai. Shadam Distribution Ki Jai. Yuga Vedandam Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi, Hare Hare Bol. All glories to some of the devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to some of the devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to some of the devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Gaur and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 11, entitled Calculation of Time from the Atom, Text 33. Ivam vidai ahoratrai kala gatyo palakshitai apakshitam ivasyapi paramayo vayashatam evam vidai ahoratre kala gacho palakshitai apakshitam ivasyapi paramayo vayoshatam evam vidai ahoratre kala gacho palakshitai apakshitam ivasyapi paramayo vayoshatam vidaya horatre anagacho palokshitai pakshitam ivasyapi paramayo vayoshatam. Ladies? Is it? Which one is on the board? 3:11:33. It says 3:11:33, but there's a different verse written on the board. Do you know which one it is?
I'm not sure. But it says on my phone 3:11:33 is different to what's written on there.
That's strange. Who writes the board up? Does anyone remember if this is the verse we're up to? Anyway, we'll read this. So I'll just read the word for word meanings. Evam, thus, vidhai, by the process of, aha, days, ratrai, by nights, kala gacha, advancement of time, upalakshitai, by such symptoms, apakshitam, declined, eva, just like, asya, his, api, although, parama ayu, duration of life, vaya, years, shatam, 100. What's the first line of the verse on the board? Can't see it. Anyway, we'll just do this one. So, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Thus, the process of the exhaustion of the duration of life exists for every one of the living beings, including Lord Brahma. One's life endures for only 100 years in terms of the times in the different planets. Please repeat. Thus, the process of the exhaustion of the duration of life exists for every one of the living beings, including Lord Brahma. One's life endures for only 100 years in terms of the times in the different planets. Purport. Every living being lives for 100 years in terms of the times in different planets for different entities. These 100 years of life are not equal in every case. The longest duration of 100 years belongs to Brahma, but although the life of Brahma is very long, it expires in the course of time. Brahma is also afraid of his death, and thus he performs devotional service to the Lord, just to release himself from the clutches of illusory energy. Animals, of course, have no sense of responsibility. But even humans who have developed a sense of responsibility while away their valuable time without engaging in devotional service to the Lord. They live merrily, unafraid of impending death. This is the madness of human society. The madman has no responsibility in life. Similarly, a human being who does not develop a sense of responsibility before he dies is no better than the madman who tries to enjoy material life very happily without concern for the future. It is necessary that every human being be responsible in preparing himself for the next life, even if he has a duration of life like that of Brahma, the greatest of all living creatures within the universe. Translation. Thus the process of the exhaustion of the duration of life exists for every one of the living beings, including Lord Brahma. One's life endures for only 100 years, in terms of the times in the different planets. Om Gyana Timrandasha Gananjana Salakaya Chakshumlatam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Mukam Karati Vachalam Pangam Langa Te Gurim Yat Kripa Tammaham Vande Shri Gurum Dina Taranam Nasur Presho Bhadresho Nicham Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Uttamasloke Bhakti Bhavade Naistaki. So Hare Krishna. I actually prepared for text 40 because I was told that today was text 40. So a bit of a mix-up. Anyway, so I can speak on this verse. So it's very powerful, very important and powerful verse, extolling to us the importance of the human form of life, especially that every living being is subject to death and the 6 changes that we undergo with this material body: birth, growth, maintenance, producing offspring, dwindling and dying. So whether it be an ant or whether it be Lord Brahma, everyone is subject to these 6 changes, and ultimately the body dying and the living being being forced to move on to another form of life. So, all living beings have a duration of 100 years, according to the different forms of life and different planets. For Lord Brahma, his life seems to him like 100 years. For us, if we live to 100 years, our life seems like 100 years. And for an ant who lives just a few days, or a dog or a cat who lives like 10 or 12 years, their life also seems to them like 100 years. But most living beings in this material world are mad. Why are they? Well, for a start, someone who's called mad in human society, why is he classified as mad? Can anyone say why he's classified as mad? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, what else? Yeah, so he people are classified as mad if they don't know, if they don't know who they are, who their family members are, what they're doing, what they're meant to be doing in life, how to get an education, how to get a job, like that. If they speak all sorts of nonsense, then people like this are classified as mad. So in spiritual life, the living entity is also classified as mad if he doesn't understand who he is. If he's identifying with the body, he's thinking, I'm a white man, I'm a black man, I'm Australian, I'm Chinese, Indian, I'm an old person, a young person, I'm a human being, I'm a demigod, I'm a cat or a dog. This is considered the greatest madness, because this is a temporary designation. All these different bodily situations are temporary designations. The real self is the eternal spirit soul, eternally loving servant of Krishna. Jivaya Surupahaya Krishnera Nichidas. The living entity is eternally a loving servant of Krishna. So also spiritually, one is considered mad if he acts on the platform of thinking that sense gratification is the goal of life. Just working hard to gratify the senses. Human life is not meant for sense gratification. If you want sense gratification in the form of, eating unrestrictedly and sleeping unrestrictedly, having sex unrestrictedly, defending yourself, surrounding yourself with so many, so much security and material possessions, then you've got the wrong form of life. Many animals that have better suited to eating, like just the cows down the road, right, on our farm, or an elephant. They can eat tons of food a day. An elephant eats a ton of food a day. How much can we eat? Like a few handfuls? That's it. We eat a little bit more, then we get sick. And we've all experienced that, right? Eating too much prasadam. The next day you're wiped out. So if you want to sleep, then there's animals like bears which can sleep 6 months a year. A human being is not meant to sleep all day, although some people want to sleep 10 hours, 12 hours, 15, 20, 24 hours. Prabhupada says people desire to sleep 25 hours out of 24, he says in one lecture. And people think this is great happiness, great achievement, to sleep all day long. But it's the mode of ignorance. One should only sleep enough to recuperate the body to do his service, especially his service to Guru and Krishna the next day. And if one is basing his life on mating, then there's many animals like, pigeons can have sex 3 times in an hour, or dogs, very powerful in sex life. Human beings are very restricted. And defending, as many animals like lions and tigers have very sharp jaws and teeth to protect themselves. No, we don't have these systems of protection. We have to spend millions of dollars to build a huge fortress around ourselves to protect ourselves, and even there's no guarantee that, you may build a big mansion, but then some country may drop bombs on your head. But people are acting on the platform of sense gratification, thinking themselves to be the body or the mind, thinking all their materialistic relationships to be their real loved ones who can give them protection, and taking their place of birth as worshipable. People are very proud of their own country. Oh, I'm an Aussie, such a wonderful country. I'm from India, Bharatavas. I'm Chinese. No, we have the best technology in the world, etc., etc. But the Bhagavatam says, Yashatma buddhi kunapi tri dhatuke svade kalatradi shubhoma ejide. Yatithi buddhi na salali na kahachit janeshva bigesho sa eva gokara. One who takes his bodily bag to be himself, who has intimate relationship with his materialistic friends and relatives, takes his birthplace to be worshipable, or even he takes his bodily bag of mucus, bile, pus and air to be himself. It may seem very nice, this body, but if you could zip it down like you zip down a jacket, you'd be disgusted. All the blood, mucus, stool, guts. And one who goes even to a holy place, but he just goes there not to seek out the association of the self-realized souls, he's considered sa eva goka, like no better than a cow and an ass. Even the cows and asses, you'll find them taking bath in the holy rivers in India. So if human beings are like that, they even go to the holy places, but they don't try to get the association of the self-realized souls and try to serve them and inquire from them how to make advancement in Krishna consciousness, then one is considered to have wasted his life. So this house, Prabhupada would say, this is a madhouse, this material world, especially in Kali Yuga, very, very mad, insane, like an insane asylum. If anyone has been to an insane asylum, then people are very, very mad there. Some people are claiming to be Jesus Christ. Some people are claiming to be Buddha or Krishna. Or some people are claiming to be the President of America. But any intelligent person can understand that these people are very, very insane. Sometimes the doctors come around to give them an injection to bring them back to some level of sanity. And the patients, they're saying, no, there's nothing wrong with me. You're the one who's crazy. And they try and turn the needle around and jab the doctor. So that's like us. When we're preaching to the mad people of the material world, especially in Kali Yuga, very, very difficult, especially when you go out and try and distribute books. People have all sorts of excuses. Not interested, no time, no money, get away from here, you're the one who's crazy. So, but if we look at people's activities, they're, as Prabhupada said, just like polished animals. Prabhupada said the dogs are running on 4 legs. What are they looking for? Sex, food, shelter, sleep. And if the human beings, Srila Prabhupada says, are running on 4 wheels, which they're doing, we can see in all these big cities, running on 4 wheels to make money, to get food, to have a nice sleeping arrangement, to find a mate and have sex life, then where's the advancement? It's just polished animalism. And the result is that people will get a better form of life to suit their desires in the next life. They'll be degraded to the animal form of life. Unless they get the mercy of the Lord and His pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada in the process of devotional service. They get the chance to render loving devotional service, which is the eternal birthright of all living entities. Nityasiddha Krishna Prava Sadhya Kabanaya Sravanadi Shruti Chiti Karade Adaya. This pure love for Krishna is within the hearts of all living beings. It cannot be taken away. But when the living being again hears and chants, begins to hear and chant about Krishna, then that natural love for Krishna is brought out. Just like if you're expert, you rub 2 sticks together, you can bring out the fire. You can't see the fire, it's not overt. You can't see it, but it's present in there in the wood. So you cannot see that love of Krishna, that eternal birthright of loving service to Krishna within all living entities, but it's present there. And it can be brought out by this bona fide process of devotional service. This process, simple process for Kali Yuga, simply chanting, dancing and feasting as enunciated by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada and all their followers. In previous ages, when the duration of life was much longer in such a yuga, they lived up to 100,000 years and they had greater physical strength and memory, and they were much more religious and pure-hearted. Then the process was going to the Himalayas and meditating on the Lord within the heart for up to 60,000 years of their life. And then the next stage, Treta Yuga, lifespan was decreased to a maximum 10,000 years, and all other good qualities were gradually reduced. Then the process was given in the scriptures. It was great fire sacrifices, offering tons of gold and grains and ghee and perfectly chanted mantras by qualified priests over these huge fire sacrifices to invoke auspiciousness in the presence of Krishna. In Dwapara Yuga, that was no longer practical, so the process was huge temple worship, very opulent temple worship. But then we came to Kali Yuga 5,000 years ago, and none of these processes were able to be performed, and no one had the duration of life anymore. The maximum duration of life is now 100 years. So we've been given a simple process. Simply chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And even though the living being is considered Nityabhata, practically eternally conditioned in this material world, in one short lifetime, by practicing Krishna consciousness, by chanting Hare Krishna and engaging in a variety of services and preaching the glories of Krishna, one can perfect his life in one short lifetime and go back home, back to our eternal home in the spiritual world. Goloka Vrindavan or the Vaikuntha planets, where there's no birth, death, old age or disease. There's no anxiety. There's no one has to work hard just to make a living, to support oneself. There's no floods or droughts or wars or crime. There's everyone is fully engaged in loving service to Krishna. So this process of Krishna consciousness is giving us the process in which we can extricate ourselves from this hellish situation. Prabhupada would say this world is like a hellish situation mainly because all living entities basically have forgotten their eternal relationship with Krishna. And this is what makes this world hellish. When you come to an atmosphere like this, like the temple, which is like a replica of the spiritual world, it's no longer a hellish place. This is as good as the spiritual world, because all the personalities here are trying to constantly serve Krishna, love Krishna, engage in remembering Krishna, encourage others to serve and remember Krishna. And all the devotees' activities here are done to please Guru and Krishna. So this is a very special place. In the material world, people are either in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance. Those in the mode of ignorance, where do they like to go? The pubs, the nightclubs, the horse races, the brothels. Those in the mode of passion, what are their activities? Working hard to make money, to enjoy their senses. Working hard in these big cities. And those in the mode of goodness, where do they like to go? In the country, they like to be out in the country, getting fresh air, fresh water, eating healthy food, and being peaceful, being self-controlled, etc. So, but those in the mode of transcendental goodness, they like to always situate themselves in the temples, around the temples of the Lord, where surrounded by devotees, always chanting Hare Krishna, dancing in ecstasy, hearing this Bhagavat philosophy, associating with devotees, inviting other people to these wonderful communities. So this is the difference. And this is the only way, this Krishna consciousness process is the only way in which we can become free from this insanity, the insanities of this material world. And what do we see? The insanity of misconceptions of this, who we are and what we're doing in this world, and what the value of this human form of life is, and where do we go beyond this life, and so many misconceptions of, is there a God or is there no God, and so many misconceptions of understanding who God actually is. Everything's clear in these pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Like, we can understand exactly what Krishna's form is like. He's, has bluish complexion, he's always playing the flute, he has a peacock feather, wears a yellowish dhoti. He's always surrounded by thousands and thousands of loving devotees. His dearmost devotee is Radharani. We can understand what Krishna, where he lives in Goloka Vrindavan, what his activities are, his pastimes, even what he likes to eat for breakfast, lunch and dinner. So everything is explained there. But so many other books of knowledge or scriptures, it's very vague. Even if there's some conception of God, it's very vague. He's an old man in the clouds, ticking everyone, okay, you go to hell, you go to heaven. So there's no other process given in the material world to extricate people from this madness of life. And we see, what is the result of all this madness, misconceptions of life? Crime, drug abuse, prostitution, war, droughts, floods. It's just a long list of anomalies or disasters. As the 12th count of the Bhagavatam says, Kalo doshe nidhe rajan asti hekan mahadgana. Kalo doshe nidhe rajan. This age of Kali is an ocean of faults. Can you imagine like a whole ocean of faults? That's what Kali Yuga is like. And all those faults are predicted in the 12th canto. You can read them. Astihekan Mahadgana. There's one great quality. Kirtana Deva Krishna Shah. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukta Sangha Param Vajet. Mukta Sangha, one can be liberated from this material bondage, and Param Vajet, promoted to the platform of real liberation, Krishna consciousness, full Krishna consciousness, and ultimately going back to the spiritual world. And one can be situated in full Krishna consciousness even in this life. One can be situated as good as being in the spiritual world. So this is the wonderful power of this Krishna consciousness process. Certainly chanting, the 5 most powerful, who knows the 5 most powerful processes of devotional service? Chanting the holy name of the Lord. Someone else? Association with devotees. That's not, that is very powerful, but it's not one of the most 5 powerful items. Residing in a holy place. Worshipping the deities. It says worshipping the deities. And hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we have the great fortune of performing these activities every day, right? Hearing the Bhagavatam every day, chanting our rounds, chanting and kirtan, worshipping the deities, living in a holy place, and always associating with devotees. We're making heaps and heaps of advancement, but we may not see that we're making so much advancement, but actually we're becoming very, very purified, very, very Krishna conscious by this powerful process. And there's no other process in this world, even so-called religious processes, that can actually bring the living entity to an understanding of how he's not even this body. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 28, says, some look on the soul as amazing, some hear about the soul as amazing, some describe the soul as amazing, and some, even after hearing about the soul, they cannot even understand the soul at all. So even different religious processes, they cannot even help people understand they're not this body, that they are an eternal soul, they have an eternal relationship with Krishna, and the process of human life is to engage in loving devotional service. It's very unclear. So there's a verse in the 5th canto where Jad Bharat is discussing with Maharaj Ragunatha. And Jad Bharat says, Ruhuganai tat tapasana yati nacheja nivapa nadgrihadva. My dear King Ragunatha, unless one has the opportunity to smear his entire body with the dust from the lotus feet of great devotees, one cannot realize the absolute truth. One can't realize the absolute truth by being a strict brahmachari or regulated householder or being a vanaprastha or a strict sannyasi or in the winter in India especially, some of the yogis, they submerge themselves in freezing cold rivers in the middle of winter. Or some of them in the summer, they sit under the blazing heat of the sun or surround themselves by blazing fires. So it says there's many different processes like these to realize the absolute truth. But the absolute truth is only revealed to one who has attained the mercy of the great devotees. So this is the whole process. This is the secret of success, is to get the mercy of the devotees. We have somehow achieved the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, and now being in this movement, we're constantly getting the mercy of so many Vaishnavas. So we need, and we should realize that we need this mercy every day, 24 hours a day. Otherwise, we can easily fall back into forgetfulness and act on the platform of a madman. Many devotees have left Krishna consciousness, but as Krishna says, Nahi brahmanasasti pratyavana vijate. In this endeavor, there's no loss or diminution. Even if one makes a little advancement towards Krishna, he's guaranteed success. So some devotees have left Krishna consciousness, they've gone back to materialistic activities, They've temporarily forgotten about their relationship with Krishna once again. But in time, they will come back because they're past devotional service. Just like Ajamil, right? He did devotional service when he was young, but because he saw the prostitute, drunken prostitute, embracing a drunken Sudra man, he became attracted to the prostitute, and he gave up his chaste wife, and he actually married that prostitute and had so many sons, and he became addicted to so many bad activities, stealing, lying, intoxication, etc. And he totally, practically forgot about his Krishna consciousness. But because of his previous devotional service, Krishna made arrangement that he name his son Narayan. So when he saw the Yamadutas, when he was about to die, he called out in fear, Narayan, to his son, not indicating Krishna. But still he got the benefit of chanting the holy name. And the Yamadutas, even though they came to take him away to Yamaraj, the Vishnu Dutas came and forbade the Yamaduta and said, you cannot, this man has chanted the holy name. And he was given an extra duration of life, and he went to Haridwar in the Himalayas and performed penances and sacrifice and purified his life and became Krishna conscious and went back to Godhead. So, but still, we shouldn't think, well, I'll just give up Krishna consciousness now and I'll just come back in 5 or 10 years' time. We don't know what the future holds. We don't know if we'll be so fortunate like Ajamil. So one should always remember how our past, how horrible the material world was, trying to extract some happiness, the drop of water in the desert. Like if you're dying of thirst in the desert and someone comes along with a syringe and drops one drop of water on your tongue, is that going to quench your thirst? No. So the happiness of material, society, friendship and love is like this drop of water in the desert. Very unsatisfying. So we should always remember the unhappiness that we experience in the material world and always think that I don't want to go back there again. Somehow or other, stick to the lotus feet of Guru and Krishna and the association of devotees and always engage 24 hours a day in service and remembering Krishna. And this is the shortcut process. Chanting Hare Krishna, dancing and feasting is the shortcut process. As I said before, in different ages you had to perform much more rigorous process of devotional service for thousands of years. But we've been given this shortcut process. Like you can try and scratch your nose like this, you may not get there, or you can just go like that. If you want to climb to the top of Mount Warning, you can go round and round the mountain. It may take you weeks. Go straight up the path. So this is straight up the path. Just chanting Hare Krishna. This is the Yuga Dham. Prabhupada says anyone who chants at least 16 rounds on his beads and unlimited rounds on his beads is the greatest yogi and meditator by practicing this system. Just like the story of the man who he somehow he got to go and see the president of America and the president of Russia, Putin and Biden. He went to see Joe Biden, and he noticed he had a red phone and a gold phone on the desk. And so he was saying, "What is the red phone?" And Biden said, "Well, that's to ring the presidents, different presidents around the world." And then the man said, "Oh, what's the gold phone?" And Biden said, "That's direct line to God." And he said, "Go ahead, be my guest. You can ring God." But he said, "It's a long distance call, so it'll cost millions of dollars." And the man thought, "Oh, no, I haven't got that money." So somehow he came to Russia and he met President Putin. Same thing, red phone, gold phone. The red phone, that's for ringing all the presidents around the world. And the gold phone, that's direct line to God. Go ahead, you can use it. The man was about to use the phone, but it will cost you millions of dollars. Oh, no. Can't afford that. Then he came to Vrindavan and he met Panchagauda Prabhu, the temple president of ISKCON Vrindavan. And he noticed the same things. The red phone, which was to ring all the different presidents and senior devotees all around the world. There was a golden phone, direct line, and he said that's a direct line to Krishna. And the man said, well, isn't it a long distance call? It'll cost like millions of dollars. And Panchagora Prabhu said, no, it's a local call. We're right here in Vrindavan. Krishna's right here. So this is Krishna consciousness, where it's not a long, rigorous process. We can immediately be Krishna conscious in a second, just by chanting Hare Krishna, coming to the temple, associating with devotees 24 hours a day. Prabhupada says you may attain Krishna consciousness in a moment, or you may not attain Krishna consciousness after millions of lifetimes. It's only a matter of accepting and understanding the fact that by applying this process, you can be Krishna conscious immediately. And he gives the example of Maharaj Kadvanga, great devotee of the Lord. He was fighting with the demigods against the demons. He was given notice that he had a moment's time to live. And he immediately thought of Krishna and left his body and went back to Godhead. So somehow we have to give all the mad people in the society, mad living entities, they're thinking they're totally sane. They're thinking we're mad. Now you people, you've given up the pleasures of life. You've given up intoxication, gambling, illicit sex and meat eating. These are the only pleasures of life. It's not worth living unless, Prabhupada says one man, he had tuberculosis and he was warned by the doctor, no more sex life. And he thought this is such a horrible situation, he committed suicide. So this is what people are thinking in the material world. If they can't have these pleasures, then there's no purpose to live. So they're thinking we're mad, but the difference is we know they're mad without Krishna consciousness. So the devotees in the process of Krishna consciousness is their only hope. So somehow or other we have to spread this Krishna consciousness. Now, the other night I went with my 3 daughters. We were staying up Surf's Paradise and they wanted one day to go to the theme park. We went to the Wet n Wild, going on all the rides. And they're all screaming and I'm like chanting Hare Krishna all the way down. And then that night we went to have dinner in Surf's Paradise. Unfortunately, Govinda's is not there, so we went to a vegetarian, vegan restaurant. And as we're eating dinner, like one Harinam party comes past. It's Harinam Ananda and the Harinam Ruchi team, about 3 or 4 of them. And then 5 or 10 minutes later, it's Saratanath Prabhu and all the devotees from the farm. There he is. Hare Krishna. We saw Saratanath leading the Harinam also going that way. So then we, after dinner, we went to the Cavill Avenue and we found the Harinam party, and I think you'd left by that time, but the Harinam Ruchi team was still there, and it was like so many hundreds and thousands of young crazy people like running around the mall, and so many of them were joining in, dancing around the circle with devotees, jumping up and down, chanting Hare Krishna. The devotees had the sign there with the Maha Mantra. People were repeating the Maha Mantra. Some of the young girls wanted to get the wampus to play the wampus. So this is a wonderful opportunity for the next 2 weeks. Schoolies, thousands of crazy kids, eagerly ready to receive Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. So any devotee who has time should go out with a Harinam party. It's happening every night from 6 till 10. And if you have time, go out during the day. I'm hoping to go out during the day. If anyone's keen to come, we can go up during the day on some days. During the week, doing books, set up a table, have some prasadam there, do some Harinam. So in this way we can benefit thousands and thousands of other people, give them a chance out of millions of lifetimes they've had in this material world. In this one short lifetime they can get a chance to once again come back to the lotus feet of Guru and Krishna and perfect their lives. And also we have to try and think of so many devotees who may have gone away from this community and they may be further away. Maybe they're still practicing, but we have to think of how we can give them association and give them Krishna consciousness. Just like the other day I went down and stayed with Divya and Lalita Gopika in Grafton. And they're struggling down there. They're missing the association of devotees. They'd like to move here one day. So we have to think of all these different devotees in different places and how we can visit them or ring them up or send them prasadam, take them prasadam, Guru Shakti and Glen Innes and so many different devotees in different towns. So we always have to remember these wonderful devotees and what wonderful service they've done and how we can try and bring them closer once again. Give them more chance to get the association of devotees. Does anyone have any questions or comments? We can just quickly read the verse again. Text 33, thus the process of the exhaustion of the duration of life exists for every one of the living beings, including Lord Brahma. One's life endures for only 100 years in terms of the times and the different planets. Have a microphone? Any questions, comments, corrections, realizations? We have a few minutes left. So another point to touch on is that just because we're in Krishna consciousness and we're trying to be devotees doesn't mean we're immune from the miseries of the material world, the miseries of having a material body. The material body, whether you're an atheist or whether you're a pure devotee, is subject to birth, death, old age and disease. So we should not be surprised that the body is growing older, it's getting diseased, different aches in the body. But this is also Krishna's mercy. A devotee takes this as Krishna's mercy. The materialist, he's thinking, why is this happening to me? And he tries to avoid so many materialistic, stressful situations. But the devotee, he welcomes distresses, like Queen Kunti's praying like this, Vipata Santatasya Tatra Tatra Jagat Guru. My Lord, may these calamities come again and again so that I may see you again and again. For by seeing you means we no longer see repeated births and deaths. Of course, we're not on the level of Queen Kunti, but we can try and always be in this consciousness that these distresses are helping us think of Krishna more, pray to Krishna more, be more sober, not be carried away by the waves of material enjoyment and wanting to try and be the Lord of all we survey and make a permanent situation in this material world. And we've seen many devotees who've given up their bodies seemingly untimely, but that was Krishna's arrangement. I've seen many devotees in 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, leave their body. Some of them got cancer, car accidents, and some more unfortunate ways they passed away. But their service they performed is never lost and eternally in their bank balance. And we may think, why are these devotees leaving their bodies so young? But that's Krishna's arrangement, and there's no loss of diminution. They're going on to getting another chance in the next life, taking up where they left off, getting a new lease of life. So, or maybe they went back home, back to Godhead. And as Srila Prabhupada says in one lecture, we don't know if we have 7 minutes left. Parikshit Maharaj was guaranteed. He knew he had 7 days. So he heard the whole Bhagavatam. He asked perfect questions and he got replied with perfect answers by Sukadeva Goswami for 7 days. Heard the whole Bhagavatam. But Prabhupada says we don't know if we have, what to speak of 7 days, we don't know if we have 7 minutes or 7 seconds. Yet Prabhupada says, what are we doing? Wasting our valuable human form of life in so many frivolous activities. So we should think that, how can I always be Krishna conscious? Even if my kids are taking me to the theme parks on the crazy rides and the water slides, how can I be Krishna conscious in that situation? By chanting Hare Krishna at the top of my lungs. So we should be always practicing chanting, always thinking of Krishna's pastimes, always thinking how to serve Krishna, thinking of Krishna's devotees, how wonderful they are, and thinking of how to bring other people to Krishna consciousness. And whenever we're doing some service, then you can be, at the same time you can be listening to lectures, kirtans on your phone. You've got all of Prabhupada's lectures, so many lectures from so many other great devotees. 24 hours a day you can have these lectures playing, these kirtans playing, Krishna says, Tasmat saveshu kaleshu ma manushmariyu jitavesh. Therefore, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna. At the same time, carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. He says that to Arjuna. Think of me in the form of Krishna and carry out your prescribed duty of fighting on the battlefield. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. So we have to externally carry out our duties of service to Krishna, but internally always thinking of Krishna. Be externally absorbed and internally absorbed at the same time. Just like Srila Prabhupada says, gives the example of a housewife. Externally she's doing all the duties in the house, cleaning the floors and doing the washing and getting the kids breakfast and lunch together. But internally she might be thinking of paramour, extra relationship in her mind. So we have to think of our supreme paramour, Krishna, internally, constantly, as well as doing all our duties. So any quick points or questions? We have a minute or two left before Prasadam. Okay. Hare Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hare Hare Bol.